guys, Dorothy here with Done by Dorothy. Thanks for tuning in today. We are actually working on day 4 of our For the Love of Australia journal, and I've pulled my main page out. And of course, you know, we had our little ribbon, our golden ribbon on this page from yesterday, and I've just took some washi tape, folded it over, and washi it down so it's out of the way, because we are going to gesso, and I wanted to make sure that we didn't get any gesso on there. And again, another thing I'm going to do is, let me find, I'm also going to take a little bit of washi, and I'm just going to cover up where my holes are. So if gesso does happen to get in there, it's going to stay within the hole. It's not going to leach out onto my fabric, because obviously we don't want that. There we go. So everything is taped down. We are good to go. So if there's any little bits and pieces, you can fold them under. I do need to acclimate and figure out where my top is. Okay, this is my top. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm using some of our DIY gesso, and I'm going to gesso this page. When I get done gessoing, I will I'm going to dry it with my, and I just sort of keep wiping that off. I have a towel sitting here, and this doesn't have to be, you know, super thick. I just sort of want to, you know, cover it so it's not going to be so receptive to bend and all of that as we add layers of paint on it. I just want to create a really nice gessoed base. So again, I'm not worried about putting a massive coat on there. And just as I go off the end, pull my rag over, and I'll, just because I want to make sure that I don't get it on my other side. So I just, then, you know, when I'm done at the end, I can clean off my workspace. That's not a problem. And you can make your gesso as thick or as thin as you want. I will probably actually do sort of a mix. Some lighter, some thicker, just because I want to create, you know, the different layers. I really want that the texture to come through. And that's why I'm not making sure it's super smooth. Sort of keeping some of it bumpy. Just sort of randomly covering it. And I will come back through with another coat. And this one won't be so much to cover as, you know, just to make it so it'll hold the color a little bit better. Because it has, you know, if you do a really light coat, especially on chipboard and stuff like that, you will get that tannish, grayish color through it. And I sort of want to make sure that I have a nice base to start with. Okay, and I'm going to call that good. So, right up here a little bit, trying to make sure my page isn't scooting all over, getting paint everywhere all over it. Okay. Again, I'm just going to wipe this up, and this is just a junk rag. A lot of times I'll grab like wash rags and things from the Dollar Tree. Let me grab my blow dryer. Well, it's not a blow dryer, it's a heat it tool. And I'm going to hit this with the heat it tool just to sort of dry it, so all my colors don't become murky. This will sort of warp some because that's just the method to the madness. When it's completely dry at the end, then I will place it under like some heavy books, something like that, to help flatten it down again. And this doesn't take a long while to dry, but I make sure I am holding it above about 6 inches or so, and I make sure that I keep my gun moving. Yeah, don't want your gun to sit still, because if it sits still, you will burn and bubble. And I don't mind so much if it bubbles, especially in something like this, because we're just going to create a random pattern. It's really not going to have any kind of rhyme or reason to it. It's a little wet. So I hope everybody's enjoying the, you know, the different textures and things that we're using with this. I'm trying not to get into any extreme mixed medias because I know a lot of people may not have, you know, a lot of paints and things like that. So I'm trying to use basic supplies that you can get like at a big box store, or you know, you may have laying around your house, that type of thing. It's not completely dry, but it's very, very close. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my heat gun. So I have my little paint tray over here. These are just, these are actual apple barrel acrylics. And these are, you just get from like Walmart. So I'm going to put a little bit of white there. And, well, I want to put one more with just a tad bit of white. There we go. Then, and this is 21954E. It's just white. Multi-surface, outdoor, indoor. And this is multi-surface, outdoor, indoor. 21967E, Clover Fields. And this is just a really, really pretty green. So I'm going to put some in there. I'm going to put some green by itself. And then this is Chocolate Sprinkle 21982E. And of course, I want a little bit of brown. Not a lot, just a little bit. Then this is Cabana Stripe 45003E. And I'd actually used all of the rest of my others, so I had to go and grab a bottle. And like I said, all these are multi-service, indoor, outdoor. And I'm going to put just a little bit in here with, I didn't mean to put it with brown, but I guess I did. So we'll see what color that makes. I have to undo that one. And then I'm going to use a little bit of my metallic Inca Gold, and it is Folk Art 676E. And again, it's Inca Gold, and it's a metallic. Some of the gold there. Okay, let me put my gesso brush up. Let me grab this first. I want to have a goldish background, just sort of to leak through the green. So I'm just going to really lightly in certain areas, just sort of some thicker, some thinner. Sort of create some randomness with the gold. And again, I'm just going to make just maybe some darker spots throughout. And I know you guys who pre-plan everything are probably just having a heyday watching me do this. Going, really? What in the world is she doing? Okay. So I'm going to pull my drain cup out here for a second. I am going to dry this just a bit. I'm sorry about the gun. I could turn it off, but I'm not. I'm trying to do this real time so you sort of realize how long it takes. It doesn't take super long. And again, I'm just creating sort of a random background pattern. I'm not specifically aiming towards anything. Of course, we're going to use our Roselia image. So there is a lot of the gold in there. I did not pull any of the red because there's so much red in there and I don't want an extreme amount of red. And try to dry this good enough so it doesn't really smear when I add my other colors. Okay. And let me... Sorry guys for reaching it across there. And grab my fan brush. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. This is with the 3 colors, and I'm sort of just moving it around. And I sort of wanted this, I thought it would sort of do that whole parroting effect, although there's some blue. We won't try to smear it in together so much. Trying to sort of mix the colors together. There we got a bit of white, slash a little bit down here. And I'm just going to keep using different type brushes. So I've got the blue and the brown. I'm going to swirl it around. And it's just going to sort of get some random, sort of clumpy if you think of, like, you know, if you're looking at the ground. And again, I just keep changing up my brushes. So this is my green, and it's going to get sort of that clumps of grass type. And again, I'm not doing this with any, it's just sort of random. I'm going to grab my blue. I'm just sort of going to try to sweep wide areas with blue just to add a little color. Sort of adding a little sky to it. And again, I mean, you can do this when you're doing backgrounds, and you guys are probably sitting there going, what in the world? That looks crazy. Why would you do that? Because I love art, and there is no wrong way to doing it. So you literally, and then I'm trying to clean my brush off a little bit and pick up a little bit of the gold. A little bit of white. Create some really wide areas through there. Are you guys going, oh, this looks like a little kid painted it? Yes, it does. Okay. And I'm going to set this to the side over here. And let me find... Oh, there. Hold on just a second. I'm going to grab a piece of cheesecloth. And it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm just going to grab a random piece. I'm going to sort of wad it up. And then I don't want to get my hands completely covered. So I'm going to grab my sponge brush. Sort of hold it over top of it. But still, you know, let it be all clumpy. And then I'm just going to and any of the places that have a really dark patch, I can go through and hit those with the brown patches. Okay. Then I'm going to put just a little bit more gold. I'm going to use my brush, and I'm just going to put at the top where I have it just a little gold. I just sort of keep dipping it in the gold. So when, you know, I know a lot of people think that everything has to have, you know, this great rhyme or reason. I know there's probably people that are watching this that are just having a fit about now going, what in the world? But, you know, sometimes I think you need to do art, like, you know, with the mind of a child. You know, and a kid would do this. They wouldn't think anything about this, would they? Nope, not a bit. So I'm just going to keep sort of randomly just sort of covering up any spots of white I have. I keep dipping it in the gold because obviously I want that gold accent on there. Okay, so I'm going to set that to the side right now. I'm going to throw the over to let it dry because I can use that for something next time. But I sort of wanted to create that, I don't know, sort of sandy, sort of dry, but with green. In it, so that really some of those that are really heavy with the gold. It's sort of that, you know, outbacky type feel, which I know it does have a lot of green. I wanted the green overlaid on it, but just dry this really fast. And you see how I just layered it on there. I really didn't, you know, do a whole lot of sorry, I know I keep talking and I'm trying to make sure this is dry. Okay, I think that's dried enough. Yeah, it seems like it's dried enough. Okay, so first things first, I know I want to put some of that gold ribbon down the side over here, all the way down the side, just along, sort of as a binding look. And I'm just going to line it up along at the edges because I have my holes on the other side to punch through. So I have that guide over there. Let's trim that down. And I think we're going to use this one over here. Yeah, I think we will. Just run some over here, just add a little bit over here. We have that gold at the top already, so I really don't want to add any other ribbon hanging or anything like that. Line that up right there. Okay, so we've got that gold there. Okay, so now I want to use some cheesecloth, and I want to use the brown because we've got so much of the green and all of that. Some of our paint's still okay. Oops. I am so sorry, guys. That might have been loud. So we're just going to glue down the cheesecloth. There we go. Then, what did I do? Got that all on my hands. It's a weird feeling. Let me cut it. I had a scrap of the gold fabric that I had, so I'm going to set this to the side for a minute. Let me ink this up. So I tried to do this one, I mean, this is like a little, okay, an extremely different page for me because I tend to be, I don't know, a little bit more methodical, I guess. But I figured I would try one just in case, like if you were new and you just literally throwed it on there. So, see, we could put it like that. And don't get me wrong, that really doesn't look bad. And I sort of like the green in it. It creates a different color page. But I sort of want to add a little gold along this side and down his tail. So, I'm just going to run some glue across there. There's, I need to clean that top off. That paint on there is going to drive me crazy. Okay. Then I'm just going to lay my piece of fabric along there. smooth it down. Then I really like sort of the, I need to trim this off a bit though. Okay, and I really, hold on. Okay, so I'm going to take my pinking shears and just sort of trim along the edge. There we go. Just along that one edge, just to give it a little bit. And then I'm gonna put glue on my image. Oops. I just launched my paintbrush. You guys didn't see that, did you? Okay. Let's pull this up here. And put our bird on here. Put it about right there. And I'm going to put just a little bit of glue along my cheesecloth over here, just to sort of give a little bit of extra support. Okay. So, you know, if you just have basic supplies, you can do a background. It sort of creates that jungly look behind it, which all the little trees and stuff, which is what I was after. Of course, I'll need to flatten this out some. Let me, taking this off will help. And I can take off all my little and there was a little bit of gesso that got along the bottom there, even with putting it on there, but you know, it doesn't really look that bad. It sort of adds to it. So there you go. So see, even that little bit, although I'm sure some of you guys were like, oh, that is totally crazy, what is she doing? I want to do something over in here, I think, though. I'm going to use a little piece of my doily. Sort of draw some of that darker green in there. Down there. That little piece off. Let me grab just a little piece. And tie that in a little knot. Although I'm not going to actually pull the knot tight. Okay. I'll put it right there. And then let me grab my button box. Grab one of those small buttons I really liked. I think. I'm looking to see if there's anything else in here that I really like. Yeah, I think I really like that one. Okay. Let's this side. I got my little pliers up here so I can. And see, that was a metal button, and it even pulled the back of it off. Now normally I would use like E6000, for metal, but I think my Fabri-Tac will do okay for today. So put that there. Have this, and what I've did is just sort of cut it and made like a little bow out of it. Let me make glue over there. And then just sort of, so that'll sort of hang down like a little ribbon. Some Fabri-Tac on there, hold that down. And then I'm thinking, then I want, let's see, it's down there, so it'll be okay. I want that right along there. Just add a little green to the top, maybe. Maybe along there where it sort of has that gold in the background. No. Yeah, I think like that. Just up in the corner. Just no, maybe we'll leave it alone. Sometimes making up your mind. Hard to do. Let me put a lid on my Gesso before I mess it up and move all these little paints out of the way. Move it out of the way. I'll move my paint tray out of the way before I knock it off and send it reeling somewhere again. Okay. Okay, so set that over there. Pull our, make sure my, cut my holes again. And again, anytime you're using fabric, you may have to go back through and trim it. Just where it, sometimes it'll cut all but one little piece. And again, I haven't went through and put the grommets in on these yet, so when I go through and put the grommets in, it'll cover all that, so I'm not too worried about that. Let me open it up. Get my bed in there. There we go. And so we have our plain colored rock wallaby with our paper collage. We have our texture paste. We got our fabric collage. I love the fabric collage page. Then we did the paint, although we still do have, let me trim this down just a little bit so it hangs, but it's not all. And again, so we have our painted page. So we have a large variety, and again, this was just almost, you know, just a splattered background, so easy for anybody can do. So even if you think you can't paint, as far as sitting down and painting a picture, you can splatter a background and create it. So yeah, so that is page 4. We will be back tomorrow with page 5. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys have had a great time, fun time with it, if not just watching me make a mess. And we will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.